Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good today. Please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button. Just so you know, I have a special guest with me today, Brian from Sussex Royal Family is here with us again today. He was with us a couple of weeks ago and you all loved having him on. I loved having him on. And so we're going to talk about a lot of things today because a lot has happened this month. I feel like every so often we get thrown a curveball. And this was one of those months where a curveball was thrown and then some. My goodness. So we've got a lot to go through today. So just give me a sec and we'll say our hellos and then we will get into it. Hey Kenneth, hey Lottie, hey Fancy. First in the chat. Hey lovely Shay. Now, GB News put out a non-apology apology. If you blinked, you missed it because the apology was apparently then deleted. So why would you post an apology only to delete it? Now I'm going to read again the statement that was released from the Sussex camp, and then we will get into the discussion. So they said broadcasters have a responsibility to inform, not inflame. This lie was conclusively debunked more than 2 years ago, yet it continues to be recycled by irresponsible commentators, causing reoccurring harm. Miss Raglan proudly raised her daughter and has never been in prison. GB News did not apologize voluntarily, but only to escape a defamation lawsuit. And it speaks volumes that GB News removed any trace of that apology within 24 hours of making it. So what that says to me is that there is a good chance that they're actually going forward with the lawsuit. And they seriously thought that simply saying sorry was going to be enough. Why would you think that defaming someone's character, and mind you, Doria is a social worker, and her license expires February of 2026. So I believe that if they were to go forward with a lawsuit, that's probably the angle that they would take, because that would jeopardize employment. You know, let's be honest, it's not like bullying or lying on someone, even by people who are meant to be media journalists, is enough to get you sued. We know this. There's that level of accountability just isn't there. But I think because the circumstances that I just mentioned, that would definitely be an angle that they could take. Because it's not like this lie hasn't been floating around for a while. Otherwise, they probably would have sued a long time ago. So with that said, we're gonna talk about that and a lot more in today's podcast. So grab your coffee, water, tea. With that said, Brian, sir, thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming back. So I guess let's start. We've got a lot to go through, but let's
Yes.
start with this, with the slander against Doria. I feel like I've spoken enough on it. So your thoughts, please. Just go for it.
It is sad that Doria has had to go through what she's going through right now, all because she's someone who is by her child's side. She's someone who loves her daughter. She's someone who cares for Meghan. And she's someone who, when Harry and Meghan are traveling, she's the one who's there with the kids, taking care of them. Archie, Lilibet, she's someone who loves her child. And she has refused to be used by the tabloids to go after Meghan. like how
Yeah.
Thomas Markle has, of course, taken the money and
Yeah.
allowed himself to be used against Meghan. And because she's a good mother to Meghan, that's why they lie about her in the manner or way they do, because she's there. If Doria allowed herself to be used against her daughter, I don't doubt that UK media would be shouting praises to her. But because she's a good mother, they go after her, they
Yeah.
attack her. I mean, they saw, for example, even the bond that Prince Harry has with Doria. I mean, look at the show,
Yeah.
Meghan show Netflix. We could see that Prince Harry said how much he loved, Doria, what she makes for him. And Meghan was like, "Oh my gosh." It was nice to see the bond that
Mm.
Harry has with Doria on the show. So it is not surprising that just a few days after we've seen Meghan's show, you're seeing attacks on Doria Ragland, Meghan's mother.
Mm.
Because if there's something that UK media can't stand, it is to see, Harry and Meghan happy. If
Yeah.
there's one thing that they can't stand is seeing the circle of friends and family that come around and support Harry and Meghan. They can't stand seeing it because also remember, according to the Byline Times exclusive, it said that the royal family are determined to see Harry and Meghan failing, and for that they've signed off on a press assault targeting Harry and Meghan and everyone in their circle. Now, who is in Harry and Meghan's circle? Doria.
Yeah.
Anyone who is even seen supporting Harry and Meghan sadly gets targeted. It's painful to see it happening, but it happens frequently. You know,
Yeah.
and Carol Malone, what she said about Doria, about that lie, she knew she was lying. She knew she was lying. She knew that Doria never went to prison. She knew that very, very well. I don't buy that she didn't know it was she was misinformed, all that stuff. We do know that they are lazy at doing their work. We know that with the UK media, they are lazy.
Yes.
And, and sadly, to see that kind of lie being spread on TV, and then you pretend you're apologizing, and then you remove that apology so that nobody sees it because you're embarrassed that you had to say sorry in the first place. It shows you how they're not genuine when they are saying that, you know what, we've apologized to Meghan. They are not
Yes.
genuine. Yeah.
No, I mean, also in Carol Malone's apology, I wouldn't have expected her to anyway, because that was clearly written by a lawyer, and these people want to evade any type of responsibility. But they also seem to want to evade admitting, really, the very rist and bigoted root seed of that lie. And when you consider the fact that on the Markle side of the family, there have actually been arrests. I didn't actually know this until yesterday when I pulled up the article
Mm.
that Thomas Markle Jr. had been in possession of an assault weapon, and that was part of the reason why he was arrested. So you've got a whole member of the other half of Meghan's family, the dad's side, getting arrested for assault, having an assault weapon, drunk driving, and absolutely nothing about that. But they seem to continue to want to perpetuate a lie when there is so much truth that can be told about Meghan's other half of the family, and they just want to stay away from it completely. And it's almost as if they're just disappointed that the
Exactly.
side of Meghan's family that is black, that has color, is actually the side of the family that is very upstanding and has conducted themselves with just grace and patience throughout all of this nonsense.
Exactly. Even Meghan said this in the Harry and Meghan documentary. Meghan did say that basically in the UK media, she said that they were disappointed, that to see that it was all this drama was being stirred up by, the
Mm,
Markle side of the family, who are white. They wanted that to come from Doria. You know, that's
mm,
what UK media were looking for. And I do agree with you, Anne, that of course, this sadly has a lot to do with, racism towards, Doria. and the ingrained stereotypes that we see from the Wikimedia. And it is
Mm.
true indeed that, and you make a very, very good point, by the way, on Thomas Markle Jr. Thomas Markle Jr. is someone who doesn't even pretend to hide what he feels about Meghan.
Mm.
He's
Yes.
someone who was, you know, jailed for putting a gun on his then girlfriend's head.
Mm.
But UK media don't talk about that. They protect him, they shield him because he has allowed himself to be used to go after Meghan, to smear
Yes.
Meghan, you know? And for that, he is protected. For that, he is shielded by the UK media, just like how Thomas Markle is shielded and protected. Because everyone in this world, knows. Certainly, there are those who don't know, there are those who do, but we've all heard the comments straight from Thomas Markle himself that he has made that are, honestly abusive towards Prince Harry himself, towards Meghan herself, even towards Archie and Lilibet. I
Mm.
believe that on a show with that guy called Carl Lassen, who called himself a friend of Thomas Markle, Thomas Markle did say, and I quote his words. He said that it's trashy for Lilibet to have a birthday around the same time as the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and Lilibet was only just 1 year old, and
Yeah.
that's what he was saying about Lilibet. But today you hear, I want to see my granddaughter. I want to see my grandson Archie. I want to see Harry. I want to see Meghan. You ain't even hearing him say he wants to see Samantha Markle. You're not even hearing that.
Mm. Mm.
You're not hearing something that he wants to see his daughter Samantha, Markle, who clearly, they haven't seen each other in a while, basically. You're not
Mm.
hearing that, you're not seeing that, but they're
Yeah.
only interested in Meghan. Why is that? Why are they interested
Hmm.
just in Meghan? Even in Graham's piece for Daily Mail, it's clear their main target here is Meghan. The person who they want to find a way to force her to make contact with Thomas Markle, it is Meghan. They're after her. Why is that? Because based on what I can see here, they want to somehow trap Meghan in a way, set a trap for Meghan. They want to find a way to force themselves into her and Meghan's lives. In Graham's piece for Daily Mail, basically she was talking about how Thomas Markle's hospital where he was staying, is far from the grandeur of Buckingham Palace and Harry and Meghan's home in Montecito. So you have to ask yourself, does she think that Harry and Meghan should somehow have Thomas Markle in Montecito? When it shows you
Yeah.
that they want to find a way to enter Harry and Meghan's lives. They want to
Yes.
find a way to force themselves into Harry and Meghan's lives by force. Even Caroline says that Prince Harry hates the UK media. If she knows that Harry can't stand the UK media, why does she put herself in a position whereby she's trying to force contact with people that she knows can't
Yeah.
stand them? Why is she doing
Do,
that? Why is Graham doing that?
do do you think that she will write a book?
Exactly. 100%. 100%. In her piece for Daily Mail, she says that she's jotting down recommendations, for recommendations, in a notebook. That's just saying she is writing a book. That's exactly what she's doing. And that shows you even that how she pretends that she cares about Thomas Markle. This this is not someone who I believe even cares about him. She cares about the money
Yeah.
that she can get from
Yes.
him, because you have to ask yourself, how can anyone respect a man who allows himself to be used against his daughter? A father should
Yes.
shield and protect their child. A father should nurture, protect. If anyone wants to harm their daughter or their son, a father protects. That's what they should do. That's your duty as a parent. But Thomas Markle has failed in that. But still, you're having UK media trying to blackmail Meghan, because that's what it is, into contacting Thomas Markle by force, by writing negative articles about her, by painting her as an uncaring daughter, with an ailing father. That's the narrative that UK media have painted, while pretending to care about seeing Thomas Markle and Meghan, fixing
Yes.
things. If they did care, they would not be involved in this drama that they are creating themselves, around Meghan, around Thomas Markle. They will not do this, but it's sad to see what they're doing. And as Meghan's spokesperson said, this is highly unethical,
Unethical.
highly
Indeed.
unethical, and so wrong in many, many levels. And even just right now, before we talked, I was even reading once again the article by Graham for Daily Mail talking about her interactions with Thomas Markle at the hostel. She basically, is explaining everything that is going on, just like what
Mhm.
Meghan's spokesperson has said. She's reporting on every single interaction. And I just saw somewhere where Graham clearly confirms that she is in possession of Thomas Markle's phone. She has it. She has access to it, and she's even been allowed to check what messages are being sent there. So, meaning, if Meghan calls, she will know, and she'll be
She'll know,
ready to
yeah.
record everything that Meghan,
And
says she'll be there to record.
I think that Meghan's people knew this. I get the feeling that they've actually been preparing for something like this for a while, which is why they've been able to handle it so well. They likely knew that this lady had his phone. They likely knew that they would try to coax Meghan into calling or even going there. So the initial email that they sent was the best way to go about it, because then it's like, well, if they put private and confidential, they're not going to risk publishing that email. That obviously didn't work, because then the Daily Fail, again, very unethical, through news articles, were basically trying to instruct Meghan on how to contact her dad, only for Meghan to send someone from the US consulate, and then also to, have a letter delivered as well. So they've basically made sure that there's no way that anything that Meghan has said to her father can be leaked without the possibility of litigation. So chef's kiss to Meghan's team. I think that they were preparing for this.
I'm very, very proud of Meghan and what she did. I have read the piece, of Graham describing everything which has happened, with lawyers coming in. I love that Meghan is taking precautions on all levels, because that's how you deal with Thomas Markle. That's if you have to, because I feel like Meghan is being forced to do all this stuff because of what UK media are doing. Basically, it's blackmail. They're blackmailing
Yes,
Meghan into doing all
yes,
this stuff. And one thing I love is that she's taking all the precautions. I love even the idea of the email. I love the letter, meaning that if Daily Mail just even prints that letter, she can sue and win in court. 100%. She can be
yes,
able to do that. So I love the precautions that she's taking. 100%. She's doing a really, really good job. And it is sad that she has to put up with this. It is sad that she's going through all of this, by the way. It is sad that even
yeah,
Meghan's mom, Doria, also is being targeted for being a good parent to Meghan, while Thomas Markle is being praised. Yet he
yeah,
said vile things about Meghan, about Archie, about Lilibet, about Prince Harry. It is sad, but, you know, I'm happy that Meghan has an amazing circle of people who are around her, who take care of her, who love her, and also an amazing team of lawyers who give her very, very good advice on how to deal with these things. Because honestly, that's how you handle things. Because Daily
yeah,
Mail is trying to trap Meghan in a way. They're trying to set a trap for her. The way the way that they want Meghan to make physical contact or make a phone call, that is extremely, extremely concerning. And I even fear what kind of trap that they have set for Meghan. But because I do believe strongly it's a trap. Anything
yes,
having to do with Daily Mail, Thomas Markle, they're using him as a puppet to get to Meghan. And it is sad to see what is happening. And the weird thing is, Daily Mail in their statement have said that anyone say that they are puppeteering Thomas Markle, that's not true. They are doing that, to him. They're using him as a puppet to go after Meghan, because why else would they be interested in him? You know, and they're even paying him money because Thomas Markle is not doing what he's doing for
yes,
free. The way he demands for Archie, Lilibet to come over, even and see him, he must have been promised something by Daily Mail if he can make it happen. There must have been something that he has been promised by the Daily Mail. That's what I strongly believe, in my opinion. my personal opinion about what's going on, what's happening, and I love that even people are praising how Meghan is handling things because honestly, no matter the noise out there of some people trying to force Meghan to make contact with someone who is not a good parent, at the end of the day, Meghan has to do what she believes is right. And one thing is for sure, she has her own family. That's Harry, Archie, Lilibet, who she must protect. Doria, who she must protect, and that's what she's doing. And I'm proud of her, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And it, I just every single time I think that the tabloids can't do anything worse. It's like, what else can they do at this point after 8 years? And somehow they still manage to take it to another level of hell in hell's basement. Like they're literally discovering new levels of hell underneath hell's basement. Like that's how low we're
Mhm.
going now. And it's just like,
Exactly.
what is their end game still to do harm to Megan? Because what else would you be doing all of this for? Yes, money, of course, but it's like it's just relentless. And
Yeah.
in the end, I honestly believe that they're just going to destroy themselves. I also think, and we'll get onto this now, I guess, the
Mm.
Daily Fail are also panicking over the upcoming lawsuit. And
Exactly.
you've got
Mm.
Channel 4 dispatches trying
Mm.
to get ahead of the story. I don't
Mm.
know I don't know how or why the Daily Fail, it almost seems like they're in cahoots with Channel 4, because from the way
Mm.
it's looking, it's almost as if Channel 4 dispatches is trying to
Mm.
create this narrative that it's all the court case is all about Harry, and it's
Mm.
actually a lot more than that. If you watch this, it's interesting because if you watch the trailer for that
Mm.
dispatches, you get the impression that maybe they're trying to offer more truth than what the tabloids are. But from what I understand, a lot of the
Mm.
other people involved in the case on are either barely discussed or not discussed at all.
Mm.
So there seems to be this propaganda washing of trying to make
Mm.
the court case of the Daily Fail just look like, a prince throwing a tantrum. And they're obviously quite worried about what's going to come out in that court case, because even for this to even get to court and for it to even be where we are now, there has to be some pretty strong evidence, or else the court would not have allowed it to get this far. So, the Daily Fail are probably shaking in their boots too, right?
I believe that as well, and that's why they're going after Meghan even harder, using Thomas Markle. I firmly believe that they're scared, they're terrified about the court case, and they are targeting Harry's wife to get to Prince Harry. Tell him, to back off of what you're doing. You know, with the UK media, we've seen how they operate. We've seen how they behave. When you go after them, they target anyone you care about, anyone you love. They target. In Harry's case, it's Meghan. In Harry's case, it's
Mhm.
Archie and Lily Betana. That's who UK media target because of Harry suing them. And also Doria, as you can see, also is getting targeted because, that's how Daily Mail does indeed operate, by going after those you love to scare you into, just tell you to back off of them and leave them alone, don't sue them. And that's how they operate. As even there's even a quote about the UK media that say this, that UK media don't hold those in power to account; they hold them to ransom. Whereby they have that on
Yes.
those in powers, those who are in power, like Charles, like Prince William. They have that on all of them. Harry himself said in an interview with the Telegraph, when he was promoting Spare a couple of years ago, he said that, on that issue, Prince Harry did say that, the Telegraph, that he knows very well that UK media have that on members of his family. He knows very well. And it's true. They do have that on practically everybody in the royal family. you know.
Yes.
So that's how UK media tend to operate, and indeed they're scared about this court case. But and honestly, this stuff about unlawful gathering of information, Daily Mail do everything in its power to try and cover up everything. That's what they'll do. And sadly, UK tabloids are very powerful in Britain. And even Channel 4, where they, saying it's all about Prince Harry. Just a few days ago, I did see that Charles gave a speech, on his health on Channel 4. What have we come to learn about the royal family? These things are done to reward these media outlets for something. Give them access, they give you good press. They protect you, they shield you. That's how the media operates or works in Britain. Give them access, they protect you. A few days ago, Charles talked about his health on Channel 4. And now you're seeing Channel 4 targeting Prince Harry. Is that a coincidence? I
Coincidence or
can say.
conspiracy, you decide.
You decide. You decide if it's a conspiracy or not. You decide.
Yeah.
But it's not surprising to see what's happening. I'm not surprised with what is happening, what's going on in Channel 4. Not surprised that right after they wrote that, they released a documentary talking about how members of the royal family are making money from charities that they represent, which painted Charles William in a very, very negative light. Now you're seeing Channel 4 being rewarded with access to Charles. Not surprising. Some kind of deal must have been made. Access,
Yeah.
good press. Access will protect you. That's sadly how the media operates in Britain, and it's really so sad to see that instead of them operating ethically, responsibly, they make these kind of deals, to protect the royal family, to cover for them. It is really really sad, to see what's going on and what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and yeah, like you said, it's the same Channel 4 dispatches that was, doing the documentaries about the duchy and the money that William and Charles were taking. So it's like, it's this weird game between all of them. Um
Yeah.
and so it's, there's really no accountability, like you said. They're just holding them to ransom. It's just all about money, the
Mm,
story that they can get, the slander. If anything, they're only holding back certain stories
mm,
because they fear, obviously any litigation from the royals, and the royals will put their foot down when they want to for their deepest, darkest secrets.
because also,
So
well, I
yeah,
just
go
got
on.
one more thing actually that I remembered. When reading the article by Graham for the Daily Mail, I saw that she talked about how Harry hates the British press. That
Mm,
article mainly was targeting Meghan. But why did she say just Prince Harry? Why did she specifically choose how Harry hates the British press? Why not say
mm,
Meghan in that case? I feel like, I don't know, but I feel like that's like a message to Prince Harry, about what they're doing. It's like a message to him
yeah,
that they're sending that this what we're doing right now to your wife is exactly because of what you are doing to us, how you're suing us, basically. I feel like that's the message that they are trying to send. That's why she chose, Prince Harry, how he hates the media. And yet, in that article, their target was Meghan. The target was Meghan in that article. But, you know, I can see, some other things popping up in my mind right now based on, what she said. You know,
mm,
is this a message to Prince Harry? Back off, back off, leave us alone, stop suing us, Harry. Because also, I do know for a fact that UK media do want access to Prince Harry. They know Harry can't stand them, but still, they do want access to Prince Harry, to Meghan, to
yeah,
Archie, to Lilibet. That's why wherever Harry goes, Daily Mail will send a reporter there wherever he goes,
yes,
even though they know that he doesn't like them. Even when Harry was in Vancouver, in Canada, sorry, giving an address, at a real estate, at an event in Canada a few days ago. What happened? Daily Mail, they were complaining, that in that event, they weren't allowed to take, pictures. They were complaining. That's from a tabloid that knows Harry can't stand them. But yet, they take themselves to a place whereby Prince Harry is
Yeah.
in. Yet they know very well that he can't stand them. He doesn't like them, but they keep on trying to force access to him, to Meghan, to Archie, to Lily Bedana. They keep on saying, Harry, next year, bring Archie and Lily Bedana to come and see Charles. Right after that assessment on Harry's security was said to be happening, what happened immediately? All of the tabloids are saying, finally, Prince Harry will bring Meghan, Archie, Lilibet. Actually, it was the focus was on the kids more than Meghan. Harry will bring
Yeah.
Archie, Lilibet with him to the UK to come and see, King Charles. That was the main headlines everywhere. And yet, a decision has not even been made yet. But that
Yeah.
is what they were saying, because they yearn for that picture. Because the picture of Archie Lilibet is very, very lucrative because of how rare it is to get it. And they want to be the ones who get that picture, of Archie and Lilibet on UK soil. They really, really want that. They really, really want that so badly. And if Charles can give them that, you know, that's what they're looking for. That's what I can say. That's what they're looking for. You know?
I mean, I think you're so right, but they want that despite the fact that they're the ones who created the environment that drove Harry and Meghan out anyway. And so, it's just like they created an uncomfortable situation or an unbearable situation, a dangerous situation. I wouldn't even be surprised if part of the reason this whole review is taking place is partly because the media are demanding for it because, like you said, they want Harry and Meghan and the kids on British soil. But he said, he's not bringing his family to the United Kingdom unless they have that security. So I wouldn't even be surprised if there was something that went on between senior members of the royal family, or basically Charles, and the
Mm,
media, where they came to some kind of agreement. Okay, can we just find a way of, making sure that Harry comes for Invictus? And that's why I
mhm,
personally think that a huge part of the security, this is just my theory. I don't know this is fact, by the way. This is just me
mm,
theorizing. That they need to make sure that Harry can come to the UK safely, because other than Harry's usual trip that he comes to see Well Child, submit here and there for other things like the Invictus anniversary. Other than that, he's clearly not coming for the UK for anything else. So it's like they're missing access, they're missing money, and if Harry does not come to the UK for Invictus, it's going to be a long time until he comes, especially for that long period of time. The only other
yes,
time he would come is for basically for Charles's funeral, and maybe, big maybe, William's coronation.
yes. I fully agree with you, on that issue. And also, first of all, I feel like something in that meeting between Charles and Harry happened, and that's why you're seeing this security, you know, being done. This assessment of the
Mm.
security being done in the UK because something did happen, and there is no way Harry can get security without Charles' input. No way. It's
Yeah.
not possible.
Yes.
No way. It's impossible. No matter what the media says, it has nothing to do with Charles. It has everything to do with him. Because as even in court, even Harry himself said this basically, that those who sit at RAVEC, even the Home Office, they were asking the royal family, what do you want with Prince Harry? And someone must have
Yes.
said, take away security, you know? And because there is no way Harry can ever lose security without at least Charles' input, there's no way. So even him getting it, if he does get it, we still have to wait and see. If he does get it,
Mm.
it will be with Charles' input. So I have no idea what will happen next year. I do not know. But one thing is for sure, UK media are eagerly just yearning for that photograph of Archie and Lily Bedana. They really, really want it so, so badly. And they want to be able to put it on the front page. So I don't know how they can get that, but that's what they're looking for. They want to be able to exploit Harry, Meghan, and even their kids. That's how UK media behave, and that's what they want. They have already showed their hand that that's what they want so badly. So maybe yes, the royal family must have promised UK media something, but also, remember that right now, as Harry and Meghan continue living in America, the biggest fears of the royal family, are becoming a reality. Whereby Prince Harry and Meghan are still able to dominate headlines in the US and all around the world, even in the UK, and yet they don't even live in the UK. And you remember
Yes.
what that byline times say? They say that the royal family fear, that Harry and Meghan, out of their control, will be able to, of course, dominate headlines, around the world and eclipse the other members of the royal family back in the UK. That is one of the biggest fears. And what have we seen? Those fears have become a reality. How so? Because take a look at just a few weeks ago or a few days ago, Charles was hosting the German president. But the next day, on the front page, it's a story on Thomas Markle. A story on Meghan. They totally
Mm.
ignore that Charles was meeting with the German president to focus on a story about Meghan, about Prince Harry. You
Yes.
know, William and Kim are doing their rare engagements, one or two engagements in like a month, but they ignore them totally to focus on a story about Meghan.
Yes.
So the biggest
Oh,
fears
they
of the
had a
royal family
whole
have become
they had a whole banquet, for goodness sake.
exactly, exactly, and they ignored them, to focus on a story about Meghan. They completely ignored them. So the biggest fears of the royal family have become a reality. So just imagine just waking up in the morning. You expect to see, your Charles on the front page because of the state banquet, with the German president. You expect to see that, but yet that doesn't happen. Instead, you see Meghan on the front page. You see, a story about Thomas Markle on the front page. That's what you see. So that is what, even in Harry and Meghan documentary, what Harry said makes members of the royal family so jealous. Harry in the Harry and Meghan documentary talked about how when he and Meghan went to an engagement with the other members of the royal family, the next day on the front page it's Meghan. While the others, they get small spots on the front page. Meghan told Harry, it ain't my fault. Harry says, I know, but that's what my mom also thought. That triggers jealousy in the royal family. They get so jealous when they see, you know, another member of the royal family who's lower in the line of succession, especially the wife of the spear, on the front page. And the thing is, even if Harry and Meghan don't live in the UK anymore, it is still happening, like regularly. It still happens. So could they be wanting Harry back in the UK to contain him because they're seeing him
Yeah.
flourishing outside of the UK? Is that what they would really, really want? Is that what they're looking for? Because at the end of the day, basically, they want to achieve what they've achieved with previous peers out of the public limelight, you know, destroyed, to dim their light, to prop up the heir and the heir's wife. When Harry is in the UK, William, goes out and pretend that he's busy. When Harry's in the UK, his engagements are timed at the same around the same time where Harry is doing his. It happens so regularly, which shows you that even right now, William is engaged in some kind of a one-sided competition against Prince Harry and Meghan, even right now as we speak. So that shows you that jealousy is there. It remains. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't changed. And if that hasn't changed, then you can't say that Harry and Meghan's future, for example, will be better if they're back in the UK. It is better that they keep on doing what they're doing right now and keep on thriving. Otherwise, UK media and the farm will have their way, will get what they want, which of course is to destroy the spear and the spear's wife, to prop up Prince William and Kate Morton. And I hope they never ever achieve their end goal, like what they've done to previous spears in history. Yeah.
Yes. Indeed. And we still have so many unanswered questions. Um, you know, I'm thinking going back to what happened in New York, the chase.
Yes.
There's so many kind of blank spaces where we've seen attempts to come at Harry and Meghan, potentially dangerous attempts, and
Exactly.
it's just like even if Harry got security, I don't think
Mm,
he'd be able to trust these people. But for at least the sake of Invictus and being able to
mm,
come to Invictus, and also just being able to make sure that the truth is cemented in history, I think Harry continues to
mm,
fight for his security, because I think later down the line, God forbid it, if anything ever happened, they would say, oh, well, he didn't fight for security. Oh, he didn't ask for security. He's been fighting and he's been asking. So at the very least, they can
exactly.
never say that Harry never tried. And I feel like that's I think he knows that he can't trust these people, but he's
Yes.
been fighting just so that it's in the history books that he did actually try to get security, because
Mm,
they've tried to rewrite that whole situation with his mother. Just wanted to say before we
exactly.
continue, thank you so much to Lottie for the super sticker, and thank you so much to Legs as well. You said, I think the reassessment is to deflect and or Invictus. Maybe, who knows? So I wanted to also talk about, yeah, on following on from that, again, a lot of this is to cause distraction. Harry and Meghan are doing so well. Just yesterday, they announced another project with Archwell, a major movie project. Not only I think are Harry and Meghan doing well, I would like to believe that they're actually really having fun. I mean, my goodness, having a lifestyle
Mm,
brand, getting to work, as Hollywood producers now. That's something that's very new for
mm,
Harry. Meghan basically getting
mm,
back to all of the things that she once did, and going full speed ahead, not having to be 50 percent of themselves. And so I guess my question to you, Brian, is,
mm,
do you also think that the firm is panicking because all of this time they have been working to basically destroy Harry and Meghan's reputation and destroy Harry and Meghan's progress, but actually Harry and Meghan are now flying, and they have become proof that you can make something of yourself outside of the royal family. But in the case of Meghan, it's not just that, she after they left the firm, she woke up and decided, oh, I'm going to do like a lifestyle brand jam or whatever. This is who she was even before she came into the royal family. This is
exactly.
who she's been. She
Exactly.
still has
Mm,
her audience, and that's who's
mm,
carried on with her now. And so I think for the other
exactly.
members of the royal family, I think they're very, very aware that that connection that Meghan has to an audience, that connection that I guess Harry also has to some extent also. I think a lot of people see, Diana in Harry, and Harry has worked very hard to do his things also. But I think they're
Mm,
also realizing they
mm,
it's very difficult for them to now try and play catch up or to replicate anything Harry and Meghan are doing, because it comes from somewhere so authentic. And from Meghan, it's literally just a continuation of what she was doing, before she married into the royal family. So
mm,
do you think also there's a part of the royal family that's running scared because Harry and Meghan, they're proving that you
mm.
can survive outside of the firm,
Good.
but
Mm, mm.
it requires you to have that authentic connection with people to be able to sell a brand, sell an idea, sell an image.
Yes. So yes, I do agree with you that indeed, the royal family and their PR arm, by extension, the tabloids, they have this interest, which I've seen. They have an interest in making people to be people believe that all isn't well with Harry and Meghan. They have an interest in making people think that Harry and Meghan are failing, things aren't working out, their projects aren't doing so well. Even just yesterday, once again, I saw an article from Tom Boa saying that this year is a make or break year for Harry and Meghan. Like they've been saying it every single year to create the illusion that Harry and Meghan are failing because they have an interest in seeing Harry and Meghan fail. They have a huge interest. I mean, think about why the story about Thomas Markle even came out around the time whereby Meghan's show came out. Think about that for a second. It happened to distract people from Meghan's project, what she's working on, what she's busy doing. You know, that's why it happened. That's why they did what they did and released around the time whereby Meghan show was coming out because they wanted a distraction. Because they can't stand seeing Meghan doing what she loves and excelling at doing what she loves. Because what people can see is that Megan is happy. She's really, really happy. And you can even see that. And you can see that the happiness is genuine. From the show that she's doing, you can see her joy and happiness at doing the thing that she loves to do. Even before she and Harry met, they can see how happy she is. And with UK Media, they'll always seek to destroy that happiness. When Harry and Meghan stepped back as senior members of the royal family, please remember that UK Media created pictures, cartoon pictures of Harry and Meghan, depicting them that they are begging for money outside of Buckingham Palace. They did that to them. Why? Because the expectation was that Harry and Meghan would fail and then Harry would come back alone back to the UK.
Yes.
Even right now, they speak. Still, you're having royal experts saying Harry will come back with a tail between his legs, and it's not just one royal expert saying it. It's like all of them are saying it because
Yes.
that's what they've been told, that is what the farm wants and expects. Harry back in the UK, under their control, with a tail between his legs, depending on them. That's what they're looking for. And you know, right now it's been more than 5 years after Harry and Meghan fled the UK. Instead, Harry and Meghan are making more money. We are seeing them announcing more projects. And with every single project Harry and Meghan announce, you see that UK media get even more and more angry. They get more angry. Like they are very, very pissed off. Every single announcement from Megan, whereby she's, for example, releasing a new product on as ever, be it chocolate or anything else, they get really, really, UK media get really, really angry. And they always seem to want to spoil Megan's fun or joy or happiness with the negative headlines and with their negativity because they're seeing that Megan is doing well. They're seeing that she's excelling, she's
Yes.
thriving, she's doing well, and they can't really, really stand it because they are promised their readers Harry will fail, the spell will fail,
Yes.
and then it'll come back here. But more than 5 years later, it's still not happening. There's a reason as to why even, I have seen Matt Wilkinson of the Sun Tablet and other role experts telling Harry and Meghan, go to a smaller place, downsize, leave that mansion in
Yes.
Montecito. There's a reason why they're saying that. Because that house, for example, is a symbol of Harry and Meghan's success. It's a symbol of how Harry and Meghan, when they fled the UK, they've moved on to great things. That's why even right now, there are those who are even claiming, Harry, if you come back, we'll give you a bigger place. We'll even give you Clarence House. I saw somewhere an article whereby they say that if Harry had stayed, maybe we'll have given him Clarence House. And it's
Oh
because
gosh.
they can see him, like they're seeing him, excelling. They're seeing him doing well. They're seeing him and Megan, doing so well. Because if they move to a smaller place, it will justify what media are spreading or they're failing. They're not doing well. But that house, whenever people compare how where Harry and Meghan lived in the UK versus now, you have to say that clearly that they're doing well, they're excelling, they elevated in life. And that is something that UK media, don't want. That's why they have this mission of trying to claim that, Harry and Meghan aren't doing so well because they need them not to do well. That way, Harry comes back to the UK, whereby he can be controlled, whereby they can dim his light. That's what they want. And let's keep on hoping and praying that, of course, Harry and Meghan keep on, making more money, keep on being financially independent from the farm, and of course, never be at the mercy of Charles William, for things like, for example, just money. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Yes. Yeah. And it is just so much about control, controlling Harry and Meghan, controlling the narrative, controlling how people think. And I think it's just so sad because even for the people who are still buying into this, like imagine just being so delusional that you see two people who are clearly building a business, building a life, and you're
Mm.
still buying into this narrative that these people are failing. I mean, I think it was even was it the Wall Street Journal? I saw something um one of their female journalists wrote something about oh, selling jam, this isn't how Meghan, would have thought her life would turn out. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? She was literally building a lifestyle brand before. And I think it's also like a
Before, yeah.
sense of pride. It's a
Mm,
sense of pride for some of these people. They still honestly
mm,
want to believe that royalty is just
mm,
like the creme de la creme at the very top. And it's just like
mm. It's
nobody
everything.
nobody who is sane, nobody
Mm,
who has any sense in their brain at all, looking at things
mm,
now, knowing what we know now. I mean, even going back to what happened to Diana, nobody would want to be in the royal family.
mm.
That's why I honestly think that, like, I'm sorry, love Harry, but I think he love bombed Meghan. I think he love bombed
Mm.
her because what? Like how did he get this gorgeous woman, this self-made
Mm,
woman to buy
mm,
into
yeah,
his crazy, crazy life? And thank goodness they both got out of it in the very end.
exactly. First of
Uh
all, I love the life that Harry and Meghan have built for themselves in America. And you have to say basically, there's a reason that's why even UK media keep on saying there is no way Meghan want to come back here. No way, no way. Even as you said, you saw an article whereby someone is saying that how can Meghan see herself, she never thought that, as a royal that she'll be selling jams. You know, Yet Meghan's life as a royal, let's talk about that for a second. She experienced racism, abuse,
yeah.
insults. That is something that UK media want Meghan to be proud of. Surely. If when I hear someone saying that Meghan is missing out on something in the royal family, I'm like, what is she missing out on? Racism,
Yeah.
abuse, insults, being treated appallingly by the farm and UK media, having to watch William pointing his finger at your face. Is that what she's missing out on? Is that
Uh,
what she's missing out on? So really, they're angry because they can see what that Megan is doing, what she loves to do. There are those who would of course praise real life like it's everything, it's special. But the fact is, for Megan, it was not. She was
yeah.
treated appallingly. Her children also have been treated appallingly as well. So the life that she has right now in America is one where you can see that she's full of life. She's happy. She's joyful. Back in the UK, Megan thought sadly of taking her own life. So when someone
Yeah.
says, royalty is everything, look at what Megan went through there. Look at how UK media put her through, the hell they put her through. Look at how every single day in the morning, Piers Morgan was, going after Megan, telling her to go back to America. And yet, after she does exactly as she's told, go back to America, they want to go to America to go and stalk her there. And then you have people for the Daily Mail going to Montecito to go and stalk places
Oh,
where
yes.
Megan
Yeah,
goes
let's
to.
let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because this is just utterly ridiculous. You had Jan
It's
Moore
ridiculous,
getting
yeah.
on a plane,
Garmois.
flying 12 hours there, 12 hours back. You're complaining about $24 jam. How much did you spend to go there?
To go over there to go and complain about $24 jam, surely. She flew all the way from the UK to Montecito to go and stalk places that Megan goes to. That's not normal behavior. It's not, it's really, really abnormal behavior from people who told Megan to go back to America, which she did. But now they're going to America to go and stalk her there. It's really, really absurd, really. You know?
Hmm.
They have William back in the UK, they have Kate, they have Camilla, they have Charles, who they chose because
Yeah.
UK media told to choose Team William and Hamilton or Team Harry Meghan. They chose the heir and the heir's wife. Instead of sticking to their choices, they keep on looking at Harry and Meghan. What are they doing? What are they up to? Even a few days ago, I saw an article, from so-called royal experts saying Meghan should not promote hers ever products. Stop doing marketing. You can tell how they're so terrified of Megan's business, they're so terrified and so scared about seeing how it's growing every single day. Now you're seeing pop-up shops, they're seeing it's growing, and they're so scared and terrified about what they're seeing that they're going to Montecito to go and write negative articles just to try and stop Megan's continued rise with the negative articles about Megan, because they're scared and they promise their readers that Megan will fail, but that isn't happening. And
Yes.
that's why you're having them making this, doing these sick things like going to Montecito, where Harry and Meghan are, to go and stalk them. It's really, really very, very, absurd to see what's happening, what's going on. And it shows you really how UK media keep on trying to force themselves into Harry and Meghan's lives by force. Using Thomas Markle, using anyone that they can use to try and force themselves into Meghan. That's what they are looking for, and
Yeah.
and basically they depend on Meghan for a living because without mentioning Meghan's name, honestly, they will not make money because Kate can sell papers. William also, they clearly aren't, so they need
Yeah.
Harry and Meghan there to sell more papers. That's what they're doing basically right now as they speak, and it's honestly not right. It's not right.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
unhinged behavior.
unhinged
And
behavior. Yeah,
yeah, and I also think that they've seen what Meghan, especially Harry too, but Meghan started 2025 right in 2025 in the sand. And what an incredible year it's actually been. It's just like one thing after the other. And every single time this year that they have caused some kind of drama, give it a
mm,
week and Harry and Meghan drop something else. It's like it's just been full speed ahead. They're clearly not listening to the noise. And
exactly.
and you know, I feel like 2025 was honestly just a warm up. And we do know that the Sussexes are going to be doing more overseas trips. As ever is really on a roll. Archhold Productions is really on a roll. I haven't even watched Masaka Kids yet. Need to get round to it. It's been getting fantastic reviews. So it's like the tabloids, the naysayers, the Thomas Markles, the Carolyn Grahams, the Carol Malones. It's like they're just putting themselves in a pretzel knot. Harry and Meghan living rent free in their minds, but Harry and Meghan just they continue, and I think with all of the drama that we've had the last couple of weeks, even for us the fans, I think we need to also remind ourselves of that. Um, that reg- regardless of all of the mess and the noise, Harry and Meghan just continue. Harry and Meghan continue to step out looking like this. Um,
Mhm.
other just a
Very
couple of
good.
other things that I wanted to touch on. We haven't had any updates about this for a while, but Sophie Chandauka and Sentabale. What do you think is going to happen with this moving forward? Because they had the financial report, right, which was
Mm, mm,
messy, but they
mm.
still had some of there was still money there, whatever
Yes.
money was left. But going
Mm,
forward now, they are clearly failing to raise funds. So I think
yeah.
that the upcoming financial report is really going to put them, in the red and really expose. Well, I think in many ways Sophie Chanduka has and her minions have already been exposed, but I think the next financial cycle is really going to expose them for the frauds and the liars that they are. But where do you think this is going to go? Do you think Harry and Prince Iso, do you think they'll sue? Um, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if they will sue. What I can say is that Chandauka already is doing a very, very bad job, and clearly when you see her asking for donations on X, for money on X, it shows you how
Mm,
that things aren't going so well because that never really happened before. We never really saw that happening. As we are seeing it happening right now. And people are calling out on X that whenever she puts out a donation asking for money, people are saying we are not giving money to someone who has stolen a charity from Prince Harry. So
yeah,
clearly, she will struggle to raise funds for the charity. She will struggle. She will struggle out a lot to raise money for the charity. I feel like that's what Harry, sorry, and Prince Iso are looking, for. Because also in their statement, they say that should focus on running the charity and raising funds for it. Why did they say that? They say that because they know very well Chandauka cannot raise money for the charity. They know that she cannot.
hmm,
So are they waiting to see her basically completely fail? You know Maybe that's what they're
yeah,
waiting for
yeah,
because already she's failing. Already she's clearly failing because also Chandauka, she said basically that You know, she's afraid. Like she said that Prince Harry is waiting for church to collapse because of her actions. Which honestly, what I can say is Chandoka is the one in charge. She's the one who's giving money to consultants who don't add value to the charity. She's the one who's blowing all the money with
Hmm.
her reckless behavior. But then she wants to blame Prince Harry for the failures, for her failures. And that just isn't, right or cool. Because also, when you look at companies that she has been in charge of, most of them have collapsed. Most of them have really, really collapsed. But she wants to control
Failed.
Central Valley.
Yeah.
Why? Is she holding it to ransom for somebody? Did someone put her up to this? Because I also feel like she's being protected by someone. And that's why we're having,
Yes.
Sir Ian Robinson, Williams AD, who basically is a trustee, who is by her side, who even in the interview that she did with Sky News, she was right there. He was right there telling her what to say, on Sky News. And it shows you really that when Ian was there, it's like William, in my opinion, was also, you know, is behind this, in my personal opinion, allegedly, of course. But because
Mm.
we see that she's being protected in a way. She's being protected. Even the report from the statement from Prince Harry and Prince so they say that the report by the Search Commission did not cover, many things because it was vague. In the opinion, it was kind of vague. I feel like Harry wanted them to address the part of, how money was being spent to consultants, but that did not happen. Why? Because this person must be protected. Because we do know that members of the royal family, they do have people who, of course, are in charge at the Charity Commission. Do they put in a word telling them, hey, you know what, just let the charity be, under the control of Chandauka? Is that what happened? Who knows? What I can say is that everything that has happened right now, Chandauka must have had the backing of someone more powerful than Prince Harry. Who is that? Because you can't just go and steal the charity from a prince like that. You cannot. The only ones with a vendetta against Prince Harry, the only ones who are doing everything in their power to diminish the spare and undermine him, to prop up Prince William, and of course, people like Jason North, you know, Prince William, they're the ones with an interest in seeing Prince Harry and his projects failing. And it is sad. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I wonder what you think.
No, I think that you've like assessed the situation very well. I always just found it very strange that Sophie Chandoka just had so much confidence. Granted, she could be a complete, Delulu clown, and that's where her confidence could be coming from. But is more likely that she is definitely being backed by someone, because the
Yeah,
absolute
yeah.
audacity.
You can't just steal from a prince. You just cannot do that. You just can't do
Mm,
that. Someone must have so much audacity to do so, and she must only do that with the backing of someone more
mm,
powerful, someone who never really leaves her side. And I've seen trustees, for example, coming as a Bale and then leaving, that she has put in place there. But the one person I never see
yes,
leaving
yes.
is Ian Rollinson. I never see him
Just
leaving at
come,
all. Even
yes,
when
yes.
other trustees are leaving, I don't see him leaving at all.
Yeah,
Why? Why is he not leaving? Why is he
yeah.
not leaving the charity? Someone who's close to
And
Prince William. Why
and
is he not leaving the charity?
yes. And you would think that he would want to save his reputation. So it's like, are you really that willing? The fact that he's that willing to
Mm,
have his reputation potentially destroyed, being part of this
mm,
charity that, was helping children, and now this crazy lady has taken it over. You just
mm.
think, why is he so willing to have his reputation destroyed, that he would still be hanging on when others have stepped down? He
Exactly,
must
exactly.
really believe that he will be protected, and so by who?
we've seen people who have been used in the smear campaign against Harry and Meghan rewarded. We have seen Jason North getting a reward
Oh
for
yes.
everything that he has done, for and behalf of Prince William and on behalf of Prince William.
Hmm.
We see him being rewarded with that, royal honor. I think it was called the
Yes.
Lieutenant of the Royal Victorian Order, something, order. He was given that by Prince William. He's someone who even was made just a few months ago. He was made, I think, director of Artshot, Williams. So he has never ever
Yeah.
left his side, despite everything he put her and Meghan through, despite all the lies he told about Meghan. He has been allowed to stand firmly by William's side. Look at Jeremy Clarkson. Look at Jeremy Clarkson. William, few months ago, we learned that he was going to make an appearance at,
Yes.
Clarkson's,
Jeremy
favorite show
Clarkson
just a few
show.
months ago. A few months ago. These are not coincidences. If Harry and Meghan were seen with people who say negative things about the royal family, just think about the headlines that you would see. Think about the
Yes.
headlines. But with William, oh, it's normal behavior. You don't see those headlines questioning, asking questions. Why is William appearing on the show of a man who said those vile things about his sister-in-law? Why? Why is he doing it? Why are they not asking those questions? Because they know they know who it is. They know that even Clarkson, Yesonov, they know what they're doing and they know what they say. They say it on behalf of someone in the royal family. They were doing what they were doing on behalf of someone powerful in the royal family, more powerful than Prince Harry. Look at Clarkson, for example. After he said those vile things about Meghan, he
Yes.
called Prince Harry. He said Prince Harry is Harold. He called him by the name Harold. I never had that name before. That's something which is very, very important. I
Hmm.
never had that name before. I never thought Harry was called Harold. I never had that name before. So what happened in Spare? Harry then told us that Prince William would call him Harold. The only time
Yes.
I had before that, and the first time I had him being called Harold was when Clarkson wrote that vile column about Meghan. He called Harry Harold. And then in Spare, you read it, you see Prince Harry saying that William called him Harold. And then William appears on Clarkson's show. You know, I don't believe in
You can't make it
coincidences
up.
myself.
Yeah.
I don't believe
Yeah.
in coincidences myself because I thought it was more or less Camilla because, right after I said what I said or before that, he went to a party with Camilla Parker Bowles. But then when you hear him, saying the name Harold, I've never had Harry being called that personally myself. Until in Spare, I read, Prince Harry saying that William called him Harold. So then Clarkson also, how did Clarkson know that Harry was being called Harold? How did he know that? How did he know that?
Hmm.
That's a very, very important question. How did he know that Harry was being called Harold? And William is the one who called him Harold. How did he know that? So, so really, I feel like people who have said negative things about Harry and Meghan have been rewarded. Clarkson, look at Jason North. Now look at also this Ian Rawlinson. I believe also his reward, is coming if he hasn't gotten his reward already. I feel like also be seeing him getting a reward, very, very soon for what he's doing because these activities of trying to dim the Spears light are all being done to prop up one man, Prince William, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, because and this is another reason why I think we've all been a bit nervous about Invictus coming to the UK because you just get the sense that they really are going after everything that is so great about the Sussexes, and I think a part of it is because William and Kate are just failing so much on their own. I mean, just this last couple months, you had Kate, she had her so-called, her big little conference thing when she showed up with a suit and a briefcase. And then we were going off on a tangent talking about, oh, we need to be more mindful and caring about people with addiction and all of this stuff. I mean, tell us something we don't know. I think the average person who's just a kind-hearted person feels that sentiment anyway. So why do we need to hear it from Kate Middleton? Um, and so it's like the other royals. they're just all over the place. They can't be consistent with anything. And so it's like they feel, well, because nothing we're doing is working, we're just going to destroy Harry and Meghan. Well, it hasn't made you any more popular. They've been trying to get at Harry and Meghan now for the last few years, or from the very
Yeah.
beginning, and it hasn't made them any more popular. This is what then they're still not getting. And despite everything that they have put out against Harry and Meghan are still thriving. So you just also kind of think, have they just gone into psycho mode themselves now? Because it's like,
Mm.
why are you still trying? Like nothing you have done has worked, and now
Has
it's
worked.
actually just starting to
Mm.
backfire. Harry and Meghan
Yeah.
have their audience, people who want to buy their stuff, watch their movies, um, whatever it put, get whatever it is that they're putting out. So it's just like, for for Kate, for William, for Camilla, for Charles, it's like, what are you still getting at going after this couple? You've lost. Just like admit defeat already.
That's why they've never ever stopped trying to get control over Prince Harry. Even now as we speak, ever since Harry, fled the UK, every single week, every single day, nonstop, UK media been asking, "Are you coming back? Are you coming back?" Every Christmas, it's Harry. Will you spend time,
Oh
in the UK
yeah.
in the royal family Christmas? Harry, will you be here in the New Year? Harry, will you be at Troop in the Color? Harry, will you come over for this event and that event? And that it never ends. It never ends. I always say that UK media played a huge part in chasing Harry and Meghan away, only to then start asking every single day, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? Every single day, nonstop for the past, 5 years. Because also, you can't really destroy Harry and Meghan when they are living in America. They've tried and they've failed to destroy Harry and Meghan. So they want them closer. They want them in a place where they are much, much closer. And yes, indeed, William covets everything that Harry has. Everything that is good that Prince Harry has, the Invictus Games, they will always want to take it away. For example, right after they took away Center Ballet, immediately the members of the Royal Rota began saying that, next up, Invictus Games, next up, Invictus Games. That's what I began hearing. So, yes, it's concerning to have the games in the UK. And I'm concerned, obviously, about Harry and Meghan, about the kids, about Archie, about Lilibet Diana. And because I do know for a fact that the other side, that's, William, Kate Moulton, they don't really have, good intentions towards Harry and Meghan. And they will never, ever stop trying to dim Harry and Meghan's light. They will never stop trying. But you see, no matter what they do, they can't undermine Harry and Meghan. They really cannot, succeed in, of course, in destroying Harry and Meghan. They, for as long as Harry and Meghan are married and together and forever and united, then they cannot be destroyed. And that's why UK media tend to target their marriage, their union. Because if you can destroy that, then of course you succeed in undermining the spare and the spare's wife. That's why they target the marriage in particular. Every single time they target the marriage, every single week you have an article about Harry and Meghan's marriage to put pressure on them, hoping that the marriage fails. That's why media are doing what they're doing. And but as long as Harry and Meghan are together, they cannot, no matter what you write, how many negative articles write about Meghan, about Prince Harry, you can't be able to dim their light. You cannot.
Yeah.
And sadly, to see what has been happening with all this, with all their efforts to destroy Harry and Meghan, that happens like every single day nonstop. It is painful. I mean, even to even live in Harry and Meghan's world, it must not be easy. So of course you find a way to protect yourself from all of that. And that's why Meghan, in a Vogue magazine article, said that, of course, in a Harper's Bazaar, issue, she said that she protects her boundaries. You know, that's very, very important. That way, you can have peace in your life. You can have peace in your life. You can create that wonderful environment for yourself. But UK media keep on trying to breach those boundaries. That's why they're using Thomas Markle to go after Meghan, to breach those boundaries that Meghan has in place to protect herself, her peace of mind, and her
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, they can keep trying. Every single time, I think Harry and Meghan have been able to, outwit them, outsmart them, and just keep it moving with grace. Just before we wrap up, and thank you so much, Brian, and thank you everybody in the comments who's been interacting with us this evening. One last question: do you think that we will get a Sussex Christmas card, or do you think it will be an as ever card, like a more corporate businessy style?
I feel like we'll be more getting an as ever than a family
Yeah,
one. I think Harry and Meghan like to keep that
yeah.
private. We've seen that over the years. They'll protect the privacy and their kids at all cost. And even if you get anything about the kids, of course, it will be Harry and Meghan, protecting the privacy of the children, showing their backs. Maybe that's it, but not more than that. Maybe not more than that. Although I do hope we do get a Christmas card. Whatever Harry and Meghan decide, we respect. Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Couple of you people's comments. Oh, has anybody got the link to Brian's channel? Or Brian, if you've got the chat open on your phone, do you want to just post a link to your channel? Please make sure to subscribe to
Mm.
Brian's channel. Please, let's get his subscriber count up. Please go follow him on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, wherever he is. I will put, if you just message me all your links, Brian, I'll make sure to put them in the description box and pin them in a comment later on. But please do go support other Sussex channels, everyone. All right, let's finish off with some of your comments. Let's have a look now. Elegant Pause, you said I IMP'd that Birmingham has Invictus. The Invictus committee must be international. Call the British expert of the committee. Well, I mean, listen, it was an interesting choice, right? I was very surprised, but I guess they had to go, with whoever was willing to host the games. But I'm still just surprised about it because Birmingham hosted the Commonwealth Games. Um, and a lot of the funds that were meant to be spent in Birmingham to update the city weren't spent properly, and then the city was having issues with bankruptcy. So I mean, I guess with Invictus they pay for as much as possible, so there's not too much financial heaviness on the host city, but it just, for so many reasons, it was just random and a surprise. Benjamin, you said, I find nearly the entire lot of them to be despicable. They have been nothing but negative towards Harry and Meghan. I truly believe it is a mental illness. I truly believe Meghan when she says she shuts it all off. She has to. Yeah. I mean, even for us watching it on the outside, it's like, are you people okay? Are you people okay? And also for Meghan's friends, can you imagine what it's like? Can you imagine what it's like for them? It's just like, oh God, another thing. I mean, I hope they're protecting their mental health as well, because they have to be a support system and they have to watch all of this cuckoo craziness.
Get diverse sources of supply.
Oh, sorry, Brian. Just going to take you out the chat there. There's a bit of noise going on. I believe Meghan truly believes in the scripture of dwelling in the secret place of the Almighty. She has to believe in something. She does yoga, which helps center her. Indeed. Indeed. I'm sure she finds her ways of, being more centered. Listen, she's got her friends, her family, her husband, her children, and, that's the most important thing. And like I said earlier, the crazies will keep trying to get at this couple. They're just, you know, they're just digging themselves a grave, really. All right. Thank you, everyone, as always, for your support. Appreciate it so, so much. Thank you, Brian. And yeah, I love doing these kind of chatty podcasts, and I will try to do them more often. All right. I will see you tomorrow, folks. Ciao. Thank you so much, Marjorie. Appreciate you as well. Ciao.